This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Hi there, it's Jason Bateman. You are listening to Derek and Romaine.
I don't know who that is, and I don't care to find out.
He's Derek.
Oh, she thinks I'm too critical. That's another fault of hers.
She's Romaine. This is Derek and Romaine.
I've made a huge mistake.
Have you made a mistake, though? I don't think so. You're listening to Derek and Romaine.
That's right. There is no better decision in your life than listening to our show.
Agreed.
So glad to have you with us for another episode of the show. This is not a live episode of the show. You know, those of you who are our regular subscribers at derekandromaine.com or dnrstudios.com, we're out of town. But those of you who listen to our free podcast, which is available everywhere people get their podcasts, we hope that listening to this show will entice you to become a subscriber to our usually live daily show where we take phone calls and gently harass each other and have a good time. So you can get all the information at dnrstudios.com. You know, we have our own DNR Cast app, which makes it really easy to listen to our show. You know, on the go. We even have CarPlay. So it's a great time to dive deep into the pool of Derek and Romaine. But for our
Dive deep into my wet, moist pool.
Oh, God.
No? Oh, sorry. I thought you meant for something totally different. My bad.
Please help. Everybody send help. Anyway, that's the kind of high-quality entertainment you can expect on a daily
You're welcome.
Romaine is a filthy bird. All right.
Yes.
Well, anyway, we have a wonderful guest who is back with us in this hour.
Oh, yeah, he's fun.
The actor, writer, Jack Tracy is back with us. He has his series, Danny Will Die Alone. The third and final season is happening like now.
Yeah.
On Deku. So you should definitely check that out. And we get into a deep dive with him about his show. And obviously there has been a lot of sort of gay TV that we've been talking about recently. I mean, and not just us, because, you know, the whole world has gotten into a chokehold over heated rivalry.
I don't get it.
I know you don't.
I'm trying so hard to like it, and I still don't. Still don't.
It's okay.
I know. I feel bad, though, because so many people really like it.
Sure, but I mean, every show is completely subjective. You know, Some people are going to like it, some people aren't, for a variety of reasons. It doesn't say anything about the quality of the show, but if it doesn't speak to you, then it doesn't speak to you.
Well,
but it sure is speaking to heterosexual ladies.
It really is. I keep, but which is interesting because I watched it with a heterosexual lady and she did not like it either. And so I'm just like, what are these heterosexual ladies seeing that my heterosexual lady didn't see? Is it just that they just want to see hot, half-naked guys, like in a sexual kind of way? Like, I feel like the ladies who like this show are like the ladies who are way into like fairy porn books. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because there's all these books now, and I've read a few of them, and I will say they're
fairy porn.
They kind of are. I've read a few of these books. And they are very good books. I'm just going to say, like the Fourth Wing series, I really like.
Is it where a human woman has sex with a fairy man?
Sometimes,
or is it a fairy woman has sex with a human man?
It just depends on the series. Like,
am I a satyr?
different series, Derek, have different types of mythical beings, let's say fairies, werewolves, all kinds of different things. And some of them are human, some of them are non-human. And so they cross-pollinate a lot, let's just say. But there is a large number of straight women, predominantly, who are very into these like basically fairy smut books. And I guess it's really not that different than, say, my mom's generation, which she read like a lot of like trashy romance novels. She loved Betty never turned her away a Louis L'Amour book or things like she loved all kinds of trashy smut, Western, non-Western, you name it. She liked it.
You know what's funny? So since you bring up Louis L'Amour, who I've never read.
I haven't either.
But my grandmother, Doris, she also, because she was a very avid reader, sort of, generationally, and she was pretty close. My grandmother, generationally, was pretty close in age to your mother.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a little older, but not much. But certainly I would consider them sort of in the same generation.
Sure.
In that sense. They were both children during the Great Depression, so they were sort of impacted by that.
Right.
But anyway, my grandmother also turned her nose up at people who read Louis L'Amour. Mm-hmm. And then when she got older and she was retired and she had lots of time to read and she was really getting through a lot of books, and she would go, she would get books at the library and everything, but she would also get books at like thrift stores or whatever.
Sure.
She would see books around her. She was always at yard sales because, she loved yard sailing. And so people would have books. And so finally she decided to get off her high horse. And she's like, well, people do love this Louis L'Amour. Maybe I should, actually read one before I pass judgment that they're terrible.
Right.
And then she was like, yeah, I had a ball. I loved it. And then she started reading like all of his books.
Well, he was a very popular writer.
Yes, but also, it was a thing where she was like, this is not serious. This is not a serious book. This is a trashy book. But then she was like, you know what? It's fun. It's entertaining, right. And I'm having a good time. And so sometimes you can get into a thing that is not, it's not you. You might not think it's you, and then you just like leap into it. Sorry, right. I hijacked the whole thing with Louis
But the point I'm making is there's a lot of women who enjoy these fantasy porn smut books, right?
Right.
And so in some ways, maybe what they're experiencing with Heated Rivalry is their smut come to life. Like now they get to watch these super chiseled bodies, mostly, having sex and like engaging in these super passionate kind of ways, kind of similar to what they're reading in these books. And a woman's not being objectified. A woman is not the center of it. And so they can just enjoy the sexuality of it, maybe. I don't know. Because I'm not a straight lady. But I think maybe that's the appeal of this series to straight women in particular. I don't know.
I wish I could put a finger on it. Obviously, because, we've had in the last, let's say, 20 years, there have been several, both literary and in like film, television, subjects that have really gripped female readers and everything and viewers, and they are not necessarily heterosexual, like traditional romance, right? Woman, from big city comes to small town and falls in love with local lumberjack or whatever it is, right? Like the kind of thing that you see in in Hallmark movies, but also just traditional romance has been heterosexual romance. But you think about with the grip that the L Word had on straight women, that the Heated Rivalry series and these other gay romances, like gay male romances that straight women, it's a whole genre of literature. And then even more recently, a show like Hunting Wives.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess they're heterosexual women, but they're having sex with each other. But it's ultimately, it's whatever is gripping these women, and I would imagine that a lot of the viewership of Hunting Wives is straight women.
Oh, without question. Without question. I think straight women loved Hunting Wives. I think it gave them, in some ways, I think it gave them permissions to think and feel things that maybe they've been thinking and feeling for a long time, but are too afraid to express. Like I know a lot of, I'm just going to call them straight women, but they're not. But I know a lot of straight women that I think have repressed homosexual leanings. And by leanings, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying they want to be in a gay relationship, but I definitely think they're not opposed to having gay sex. I just had a conversation the other day with a straight friend of mine, female, and she went on this whole tangent about her new crush, and her new crush is the actor Mae Martin. And she's like, May's mine. I want her. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is a woman who I've only ever known to be in straight relationships. And yet, all of a sudden, she's very, very comfortable talking about this crush she has on May. And I'm like, okay. So I think in some ways, straight women are getting permission to express their attraction even, or, their desires to maybe have a sexual relationship or make out with a woman in a way that prior to this was not really very acceptable. And I think I think it's great. I wish more straight women felt comfortable expressing those. I just wish they were not attracted to lesbians, because I feel like lesbians, we've all been there. Every lesbian I know, where you fall in for a straight girl only to realize that she's a straight girl and you're never going to be in a happy relationship with her, because at the end of the day, she's straight. And, yes, it's fun to have a little fling or to dally a little bit, but you can't put much stock into it, because eventually you're going to get your little lesbian heart crushed. So I think more of these straight women need to express these desires towards each other, because then it will not lead to broken lesbian hearts.
So I have a variety of theories about sort of why some of these things grip people. And, and in some ways, like if you think about the 50 Shades of Grey, because that was a huge phenomenon, but a lot of women are not necessarily into, dom sub role play. But I think that it was helpful to be able to explore in a literary context something that they're probably not comfortable exploring in real life. In much the same way of sort of like just in general, the like bad boy, like romance of like, oh, it's very tempting. That bad boy is very tempting. But the reality is, a bad boy is just going to end up being a lot of trouble. But from a fantasy standpoint, a bad boy is very alluring. Maybe it would be fun to just hop on the back of a motorcycle of a rebel and ride off into the sunset and devil may care, because sometimes, life is a lot of treachery. And so it seems there is an appealing flight fantasy. I know you've been experiencing it for at least a year now, if not longer. So I think that there's a common fantasy where it can be worked out for yourself in literature. But I also think there is some value in these contexts, like the L Word or Heated Rivalry, or even Hunting Wives, where you can explore things that you might not be getting otherwise in your life or your relationships in a way in which your own experience or self is not in the way of the storytelling. Like with two men, you're not, if they're sort of, the sex crosses a line or is disrespectful to one person, everything, you're not feeling objectified. You're not feeling like the subject of like, oh, I cannot believe another woman such as myself is being treated this way. But when it's a man, you're like, all right. I'm interested to hear more about this. So I think that there's like that. But I mean, I said at the time about the L Word that I thought that what straight women were so attracted to about it was that it was women talking about their relationships and feelings without men getting in the way.
Yeah.
That it wasn't about like dealing with a man's needs or dealing with a man's like problems and whatever else. There's a whole thing right now, the talk about the male loneliness epidemic and whatever else. And men are significantly happier and more successful when they're married, and women are significantly more successful and happier when they're not. Mm-hmm. But it's because the reason that men are happy when they're married is that women take a lot of the workload off of their lives. Even when they are both working people, even if they don't have kids, the women take a lot of stress out of that man's daily life.
Right.
Because she's taking care of things that he would otherwise have to take care of. As we've all, everybody is talking, social media has been great for everyone complaining about like, picking what to have for dinner is like the worst part of my day.
It's not a great part of my day.
It's not a great part. But the thing is that quite frequently, women are the ones who have to make those choices in these heterosexual relationships. So kind of like the worst choice you have to make every day, which is also an innocuous choice, is a burden that women take on, that men don't have to take on. No wonder they're happier. They don't have to take on this one annoying thing. So I think that there's a lot here in these books and shows for women where the problems that they have to face, which are not catastrophic problems. Picking out what to have for dinner is the definition of what we used to call a first world problem, right? But at the same time, it adds to your daily stress and anxiety and whatever else. What if I pick wrong? Remember our old producer, Sam? Every day when she would order like some local lunch or something, right?
Yes.
We'd be doing the show and she would have her lunch, early dinner, whatever it was, while the show was going on. And we would see her in the corner. She would open up whatever she got to eat, and she would take one bite and slam down her spoon or her fork, like, ugh.
Oh, she'd be so miserable about it.
So miserable every time.
Yep. Every fucking time.
And so, I just like saw how like stressful that was for her. And that was extreme because most people I don't think are like that. But imagine if you're not only internalizing your own, like, oh, I can't believe I ordered this food and it wasn't what I wanted. What if you also have the added pressure of I'm in this relationship with a person, they're depending on me to pick something out, and now it sucks.
Yeah.
And like, what kind of pressure is that on your relationship? So I just think there's a reason that women not going to have this in every relationship and everything. Also, two lesbians can have the same problem of somebody has to pick out dinner. You don't need a man for this to be stressful, as Romaine knows. But I think that these romances give you an out where this is not a problem, where these daily problems are not an issue. And then you can just focus on other things that are sexier or more fun or more, nurturing to your emotional needs.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Romaine, wouldn't it be great if all of your emotional needs could be met?
Oh my God. I don't even think I'd know what to do with myself if all my emotional needs could be met. I don't think there's a drug strong enough in the world.
No. But, having a lot of straight people engaged with these gay stories, though, for us, it's, we need straight people in a lot of ways to jump on these.
Yeah,
things,
because then
especially
they'll make more gay content, which frankly I enjoy. And for straight people, I'm sure it's a nice change of pace to not have to see themselves reflected in every relationship they see on TV. To see something different has got to be refreshing. For me, I always love seeing lesbian stories told in movies and film and in TV and things like that, because I don't see a lot of my relationships reflected in those ways. And so whenever I get to see it, it's always a happy thing. And, it's nice that there are more and more shows, it seems like, that are not afraid to embrace a gay storyline.
Yeah, but just look, last year, Netflix had the series Boots about the young gay who joined the Marines. That was a great show, and it did well for Netflix, but they still canceled the show after one season.
Which I think is a real mistake.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it was a really great little show. I thought it told an interesting story, one we hadn't really seen before. And it told it in kind of both a funny but serious way. And I actually thought that was one of my favorite little shows that I watched last year. I really, really liked that show. And when I heard that they were not renewing it, I was very disappointed, especially when the reason why is so stupid.
Well, it's almost certainly because the Pentagon complained about the show.
Yes.
When it aired, saying it was woke. And, and the thing is, like,
I don't even know what the fuck that means. How is it woke? Because it talks about gays in the military?
Well, this is the problem that I have with the sort of pushback about telling history as it was. We all know Don't Ask, Don't Tell existed.
Right.
We know that there were gay people in the military who had to deal with living under that policy. It's not
my
woke
wife
to talk about the fact that happened and only ended in fairly recent history, in the lifetimes of most people. Like, It was a very recent thing. And I don't think it's and the problem that I have with complaining about it being woke is I don't understand, who do they think is harmed by telling this? Because obviously there is homophobia, there was homophobia, and we have sort of moved past this idea.
Oh, I don't think that was the harm in telling the story.
What do you think the harm was?
I think from a military perspective, the harm was implying that there are gay people in the military. I think...
But there are gay people.
I know there are. You and I both obviously know that. But I think the implication, especially with a show like Boots, this young guy who was basically not manly enough, not macho enough, not masculine enough, didn't belong in the military because he lacked all of those qualities. That is the kind of man that the military wants to portray. It does not want you to believe that there are men that are less than, that are in our military. They don't want to acknowledge that someone who is less than that stereotype could not only make it in our military, but survive and do well in our military. That looks weak. And that is not the image that our nation's leaders want to put out there. So I think that's why they took issue with it.
Well, I mean, I just think in general that the sort of the MAGA movement is very white, male, heterosexual, dominant focused.
Yes.
And it's not interested in hearing about anything that includes LGBTQ people, women, people of color, because just acknowledging that those people exist, that's the thing that's woke. Just knowing that those people are around is the part that's woke. And the thing is that people exist. Like, this is frustration. This is not like complaining about your fairy smut where it's obvious that fairies don't exist.
You don't know that.
I do know that. There are no fairies. I mean, there's at least one in this conversation. But other than that, like, if fairies do not exist. And so it'd be one thing if they were like, people should be dealing with reality, not fantasy, and fairies aren't real, and we should be dealing with our real relationship problems and everything and not dealing in fantasy. This is not a fantasy. There are gay people in the military. There were gay people in the military. It's not a fantasy. It's a fact.
Yes.
But it's a fact that you don't like. And,
right.
But to that I say, too bad.
Tough shit.
Sometimes there are facts that we don't like. And, for all of the talk about people being snowflakes and everything, I don't think there's more snowflakey behavior than, I don't like this fact. I'm like, well, girl, I don't like it that it's in the wintertime, it's dark early. Like, I don't like it either. What are you going to do? Our planet rotates the way it rotates. Like, this is the planet we live on. So you can boo fucking who about it all winter long. But it doesn't change the fact that, sorry, the days are shorter and it's going to get dark earlier. Too bad. So I think that that howling at the moon about these things that are real and true is just
stupid,
petty, and pointless.
It is.
And
but
I don't know who it serves.
We know there's lots of people who are both petty and pointless in this world. So is that a surprise? Even a little bit?
No. I mean, there's two petty and pointless people in this conversation at the very least.
How dare you, sir? I am neither petty nor pointless. I have many good, solid points to make. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sure you do.
Unbelievable.
All right. Well, speaking of gay TV,
yes.
Obviously, this is the throes of award season while this is airing, but in the entertainment world,
yes,
because there's the Golden Globes and the actor awards. It used to be the SAG awards and the Oscars and everything else. Well, there is big news about the Oscars. So for years, it has been airing on ABC.
Yes.
But the Academy has announced that they will have a new home for the Oscars starting in 2029.
Why?
When their current deal with ABC ends. Well, you actually might not be. I mean, I know that watching the Oscars is not your, I must have. But it is moving to YouTube in 2029.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Do we think this is a good move or do we think this is a horrible move?
Well, so last month, the Golden Globes was on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Okay.
And I think that for people who are cord cutters,
like you and I,
right, this has been a struggle of I cut the cord, but I do care about these live shows.
Yeah, I always feel this way whenever the Super Bowl comes around or something like that. I'm like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to watch this thing that I do care about this one thing, but it's not worth paying for cable for?
Yes. And so it's the same thing that a lot of people have this thing of I want to engage with this content, but I also don't want to have to pay whatever it is, $100-something a month just to watch this one thing once a year.
Right.
But the Oscars, like a lot of traditional TV programming, is facing lower ratings, sliding viewership. And I actually think that the Academy realizes that putting the show on a broader platform like YouTube, because almost everybody has a smart TV now.
Yeah.
And they have apps on the TV. YouTube is a dominant player, not only in online search and usage, but also on TVs for viewership. And I think that the Oscars recognize that YouTube is a good platform for them to reach a lot more people. It's also a global platform. And so it will allow them to also make the Oscars available maybe in countries where they don't have a deal to air the show. And with YouTube, I mean, they can gatekeep it so that if there is a local broadcaster that has the rights, then YouTube will just not make it available in that country. But it expands the viewership of the show globally and allows more people to see it that would otherwise not be able to see it. And it gives them a chance to, reverse this rating slide.
Right. Well, I mean, I hope it works. I don't know that it will, but, more power to them. Yeah. I'll be interested to see what happens. And to see if, more people will tune in this way.
I think there will be some confusion because people have been seeing the show on ABC for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's the cable people that will be the ones that freak out.
Right, but...
Because they're not used to having to look for their shit the way that cord cutters are.
Yes. But then again, anybody who's been a RuPaul's Drag Race viewer...
Oh, God, good luck finding that shit.
Good luck finding it. No, but seriously, good luck finding it.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But
I don't even know where it is anymore.
We have plenty of information. We have a long lead time to let people know that it'll be on YouTube. I'm sure that YouTube is going to have a lot of splashy promotion. And the good news is that when people are like, hey, where can I watch the Oscars? They type that search into Google. So the fact that YouTube, which is owned by Google, is where the show will be, they're going to make it real easy to see.
Yeah,
I do think, though, there are older people who don't understand about apps on their TV and whatever else, and may not actually watch, view a lot of content on YouTube, might, the older viewers are going to be the ones that really struggle. And by older, I mean over the age of 70.
Yeah, good luck to them.
But the reality is YouTube has been around for 20 years.
Yeah, it has.
And so the people who are 70 now were 50 when YouTube came out, which is not too old to have adopted that as a piece of technology.
True.
And I do, and so there are people who are older who it is a struggle to get into technology, but YouTube is as mainstream a digital thing as there is. I mean, I have my 93-year-old cousin, Carol, who only has a TV and she's not online. And she's very proud of the fact that she's not online. She can't hear this show right now. She's not online. So it will be a struggle for her to watch YouTube, because she doesn't have access to YouTube. So if she loves watching the Oscars, she's going to have to go to a friend's house, I guess, in order to watch the Oscars, because she won't be able to watch it at home.
Right.
But also, I mean, how many 93-year-olds are there who don't have any access to the internet and are proud of it and live alone? Like, she's in an extremely small segment of the population.
She definitely is. Definitely is.
All right. Well, speaking of gay entertainment, because the Oscars are our gay Super Bowl, Jack Tracy is coming up next to talk about Danny Will Die Alone, or will he?
I don't know. Let's find out.
You're on Derek and Romaine.
More Derek and Romaine next.
Derek here, along with Romaine, and joining us now, our returning champ, actor and creator Jack Tracy is back with us. His series, Danny Will Die Alone, just kicked off its third and final season on Deku. You can check it out at DEKKOO.com. And you can also follow Jack Tracy in social media. He's on Instagram, Jack Tracy Official. And we're happy to have him back for the third season of the show. Jack, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be back. It's been a little bit.
It has.
It has. It's been a year. And what a year, huh?
Oh, man.
What a year. What a year. We're at time of recording, the state-sponsored terror squad has just murdered someone. So Happy New Year.
Yay! That's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, we would almost need to have to give more details because by the time this airs, they might not easily be able to narrow it down.
Yeah, it could be so many murders that have happened. That's the craziest part.
No, I obviously, as a content creator, you draw a lot of inspiration from your own life. So how much, obviously, this is not what Danny Will Die Alone is about, like the broader world, but, how do you navigate the changing landscape of the world around you as a creator and put that into your work?
Well, it's funny because almost all of my work is based on. I think actually all of my work is based on my experiences. So to the effect that some of the political world dives into that area, I'll put it in the show. I think we have a couple Trump jokes in Danny, but as you said, it's not really about that. I actually do have my first film, Snowflake, was written in response to the first Trump election, and that. If anybody would like to watch that, that's on my OnlyFans at onlyfans.com/Jack Tracy Official. And my next project, a Christmas movie, is a political satire as well. So nothing in Danny, but it is impacting other work.
Politics for Christmas. How heartwarming.
Oh, yeah. Just what I wanted to unwrap. Okay, here's the question I have though about that, Jack. So if you pull all this inspiration out of your real life, that means you kind of have to live a pretty interesting real life, because if you don't, what the hell do you have to pull from?
She's saying you're a hot mess.
No. I'm saying this because I do the same
yeah.
thing with this job. I mean, if my life is boring, guess what? Sometimes the show is a little boring.
Right. Well, at this point, I'm 43 years old. I have enough stories to last the rest of my life. I could just be a hermit for this point out, and I would still have content. To the point where now on my Instagram, in order to, build an audience, I'm sharing twice a week some story from my dating life, some of which have made it into Danny's, some haven't. And I mean, a lot of them are getting very wide reception because my life has been insane.
Well, it's it helps the creative process for sure, because you do have more, it's life experience to draw on. Just in general, I when I was in college, we had like a guest professor who came by. I took a screenwriting class. We had a guest professor who came by, and he said that his dream screenwriter student was a middle-aged woman with 2 kids, because, it was somebody with life experience and things to talk about and a perspective and,
right.
And also, in that case, somebody who doesn't get listened to all the time. So, needs an outlet to express herself. So I do think that as you get older, you just have a lot more to draw on. And then but your perspective on things also changes too. Like, something that you feel like somebody was terrible to you about 20 years ago. In retrospect, you're like, I don't know, that might have been my fault.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've put those stories up and said, left it up to the Instagram audience of like, do you think I got what I deserved or no? I'm kind of 50-50 on it now.
Well, I always lead with I'm a terrible person, so people can determine, the outcomes of things within that context. Now,
we're all terrible people.
I mean, it sometimes happens that way. I think you kind of need to acknowledge your terribleness in order to move forward. We had John Waters on the show, and with his book, I think it was called Role Models, where it's like his friendships with various people, and a lot of them were people who had done terrible things. The woman he was friends with who was in the Manson family. And I said, what draws you to people who have done terrible things? And John Waters said, we've all done terrible things. And that was kind of a revelation for me of oh yeah, I was on my high horse. I mean, obviously I'm not a member of the Manson family, but we're all that terrible person in somebody's memory, even if we didn't mean to be. So it's good to have some perspective that we're all not walking saints. And,
what?
Not that we can't be judgmental of other people, but, nobody's perfect.
I'm a saint. According to only me. Okay.
Yes. Now, no need to comment on that, Jack. Now, with Danny Will Die Alone, one of the things that you have been exploring, which I feel has been more recently in the forefront of the gay male community, I will say, is open relationships and polyamory. Now, obviously, this has been going on for a long time, but certainly I feel like in the sort of post-marriage equality world, it has been a much bigger topic of conversation. So talk about addressing it on the show and also why you think this is really much more in the zeitgeist now.
Well, I think, with liberation and freedom and openness, you now get to sort of craft your life as you wish. And we've always done that as queer people. So, I don't think queer people are beholden to heteronormative, models of relationships. So, and honestly, if you listen to sex advice podcasts now, straight people are doing it too.
Oh yeah.
They don't talk about it as much as we do, but they're out there doing the same thing. So, it's all over the place. It's always been all over the place. But I think just people feel much more comfortable in the queer community talking about it and stating it out loud and identifying as a polyamorous couple versus open relationships, which are, of course, different things.
Right.
The way that we tackle it is Danny has absolutely no interest in that. He is a monogamously minded, sort of traditional heteronormative relationship type guy, and he finds the freedom of the LGBTQ community to be entirely frustrating and counterproductive to his goals. And so he is quite judgmental and frustrated.
Sure.
And I think there are a lot of gay people that actually do feel that way.
I think so too.
Because, I think part of the reason why polyamorous relationships and things like that exist so openly in the gay community is because as queer people, we have to talk about our sex lives. It is not only a part of our identity, but it is also kind of a requirement because no one else is talking about our sex except for us. So we communicated about it a lot more openly, a lot more freely than I think our straight counterparts do. And so, I can see if there are people who don't want to experience all that openness. Like I would use my wife as a perfect example of this. She is a very vanilla, pretty conservative sexual person who is very much into monogamy. And I am the exact opposite of her.
Remains a whore.
Yeah. And so, but for Iris, like even just talking about that stuff makes her very uncomfortable. It's just not who she is. And she doesn't understand my need to not be just like her. So I think in this way, she's a lot like Danny.
Well, and I think with the openness of it, I think there is this there are, open relationships are one thing, polyamory is another.
Oh, yeah.
But then I think there's this sort of circle that's also like what used to be called just being single. Like you used to be single and then have a bunch of people like you hang and hook up with while you're either happy with that and that's your lifestyle, or you're finding the more, intimate connection to supersede or replace that. That's how I live my life. But I think there is a segment of people that sort of call that state of being polyamory. And it's like, but do you love any of these people? You're just dating and hooking up with people. Like,
right.
Can we just call it what it is and what it was? And then I can know going into this relationship or going to this date that you are not looking for anything with commitment or intimacy or anything beyond like you need someone to fill your Thursday.
Right. Like the old friends with benefits. Is that ceased to exist?
Right.
Thursday,
I love a friends with benefits.
Yeah. Thursday is a funny name for somebody's ass, but everybody has cute names for things. What I find interesting is that even though now we live in an information age, which it's terrible. Like we thought the promise of the information age was be so great. We would have all the information of the world at our fingertips. It's ended up being a horrible, like our information age is this paper shredder that our society has fallen into. But anyway, but what I find interesting about our sort of information age in the context of dating is that you would think that now this would be the golden age of people being able to be upfront about what it is they're looking for and express that, and then be able to find somebody who is the right fit for exactly what they're looking for. Obviously, as a creator of a show, you want tension. So you want to have a relationship situation where one person wants monogamy and the other person doesn't, right? From a creative standpoint, like that's useful and juicy. But in everyday life, people want, they want the thing that they want. But I find that even in this sort of information age, people do struggle to just say out loud what it is that they want. And I think ultimately so many of the problems that people have in dating and relationships and everything would be just be open and honest about what your ideal situation is, and stop trying to pretend to be somebody else in hoping of snagging somebody, or trying to coerce and convince somebody to be somebody they aren't, to sort of fit the thing that you really ultimately want but weren't able to express.
Well, I think that comes to sort of like four things. So like one, I think we overestimate how many people actually do know what they want. I think a good number of people, possibly even the majority, don't actually know what they want, and they're jumping from experience to experience, finding out what they want. Two, you've got people who, well, if I say exactly what I want, I'm afraid that, I get less options. because I'm being more specific, and therefore the pipeline isn't flowing, and that can affect one's self-esteem or pipeline of sex. I know multiple people that I've dealt with who, tell you what they want to hear so they can screw you, which is what they've wanted all along. And then it's like, actually, I'm not looking for anything serious. It's like, well, then why did you say you were looking for a long-term relationship?
Because they wanted to have sex with
get
you.
me in bed and then be done with me. Right. And then I think people see being specific as like, well then, but what if they're not confident that they do know what they want. And so then what if the right thing passes me by because I'm turning away things? And then I think you have people who see being specific as a rejection. And they, the ghosting is the epidemic now. And I think it's always really been, but ghosting is the thing because I don't want to be the bad guy. It feels bad to tell someone no. That takes, it's an awkward situation and I would just rather disappear. And so like to tell someone, actually, that's not what I'm looking for. Like, I don't know if I think there are a good amount of people who like feel very uncomfortable with that. So would rather tell you what you want to hear and then kind of like fizzle.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but even still, being, and I get it. Sometimes being a people pleaser in life is also what you're looking for sexually. So I understand that sometimes, people are, playing out fantasies on multiple levels. There's some 3D sexual chess going on for some people, and I get that. But I think it is it's still very hard, and I keep hoping that as it becomes easier for people to come out earlier, as the world being more accepting, that people will be able to be more willing to say what it is that they want and need, because they're not living in this like crushing world of fear of rejection that particularly gay people have to deal with. I mean, straight people have to deal with it too, but not in quite the same terms that, you spent your formative years already being worried that your family and friends and the world would reject you. And now you have to get out into a dating scene where rejection is constantly going to be happening naturally as a part of the process. And a lot of people just can't handle it and deal with it. But people need to, be brave and get out there. All the people I know who are the most relationship and sexually successful are the ones who are just not afraid to hear the word no. And they keep getting out there and, they put themselves on a plate and wait for somebody to eat them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my relationship advice. But for you, creating a show, you want drama and problems and people who struggle to express their feelings, and because that makes for good entertainment.
Right. And the thing is, all of those stories that are in my show are all based on something real that happened, and very little of it is embellished. So that is just the roller coaster cadence of my existence.
What do you think that says about you, Jack?
I mean, I've always been a very polarizing person, and I tend to attract crazy. I think this might sound arrogant, but I'm 43. Who cares? I have a magnetic personality, and it draws all sorts. I trigger people because I'm very opinionated and specific and have boundaries and all of the things that make anxious people irritated. So my very existence tends to trigger the world. And that's just the way it's always been. I think the more confident and the more, sure of yourself you are, the more you draw people trying to cut you down, or if somebody has something to say, and I am fortunately at a time in my life where I just don't care anymore. And I'm just going to do everything that makes me happy. And screw you if I don't care. I don't care anymore.
You've got no more fucks to give.
I really don't. I really don't. And let me tell you, since I've been posting more on Instagram, it cross posts to Facebook, which is where the wild people are. And let me tell you, when I get something, I had someone quote a Bible verse at me today, and I just wrote back, look, I don't live my life by a magic book written by a king in the medieval times, but you do you, boo. Like, fuck you. Like, I just don't care. I don't care.
So with season 3 of Danny Will Die Alone being the final season, Will Danny die alone? Are we going to get an answer to that question?
I will. I don't want to give it away.
Well, no, I know you don't want to give it away, but
I
mean, are we going to get the question answered?
I mean, because I will say this: we do not see Danny's final moments. He does not die as an old man in the end of the show. So,
okay.
So no. So we won't know.
Okay.
We won't know. But the final episode does give a sense of, closing of a chapter as Danny goes into something else in his life. And I think the audience will be satisfied, but the season may not be exactly what one expects based on what happened last season.
Now, I mean, we just saw recently with the ending of a very popular show, Stranger Things, the audience had a lot of expectations for the finale, and then some audience members felt really disappointed. Does that stress you out as a creator when creating a final series finale? Like, did you stress about this? Did you try to figure out what's going to make everyone happy, or do you just not even care and you just do what you think is right?
See, previous answer. No fucks left to give. I want to make what I want to make, and as long as I like it, that's all that matters. The check is in the bank account. I do not care.
See, and I actually wish more creators had that attitude. Right. I feel like too many cater to the audience.
I do, however, love an Easter egg. And so I do like to reward fans of the show, like people who have seen all of the episodes, people who pay attention to running gags and things like that. So whether it resolves the way you like, whether the finale is what you want is one thing, but I will tell you that I do reward people who have stuck with me. You will get little surprises and nods that should make you smile.
Oh, I like that. I think that's very sweet and thoughtful.
But it is difficult in the age of social media to you don't have to guess what the audience likes or doesn't like, and so for a lot of shows, I mean, especially now. It's been ongoing for a while, but show creators have to deal with, various ships, that people want between characters that had not originally been intended by the creators as a potential couple. But then there just becomes this groundswell online of pressure on these shows to make this happen. And different shows and creators have dealt with it in different ways. Some people just power through and do what they were going to do anyway and let the internet be what it's going to be. Sometimes they, they know what the audience wants. They tease them a little, even if they don't give them what they want. Looking at you, Xena. But even with 911 on ABC, they had two ostensibly heterosexual characters, and the audience immediately started shipping them as a couple. And now that the show has been on the air for 9 seasons, insanely long, it's well, I guess they're going to buddy up. But part of that might also be, after 9 seasons, well, you got to do something. Maybe you should start giving the audience something. But it's just a different dynamic for people who are writing these things than it used to be in the past, I think, in film and television, when you did not have nearly as much immediate sense of what people want or don't want.
Right. And at the end of season 2, we ended kind of on a
cliffhanger.
What people think is a cliffhanger. People think it's a cliffhanger. I don't know. It might be the end. It might have been resolved. It just resolved in a way you don't like. I don't know. We'll find out. Watch the show. But I did get a lot of response of I loved your show, but the last episode made me cry, Team Maddie. They want Danny and Maddie to be together. And I hear you, but that's not I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. Dating doesn't always give you what you want. So you'll just have to find out.
Now, Maddie, played by the actor Jordan Bell, was introduced in season 2. And so when you're bringing in a new character like this, obviously, you want the audience to react in the way that you do and everything. So how was the response from the audience with the addition of Maddie to the show what you expected, or was it different than you expected?
Oh, yes. It was. I knew people were going to want. I mean, that was the whole tease of the second season, that the audience saw that Maddie had developed feelings, that Danny was completely oblivious to it. And so the audience is sitting there screaming at its television, like, Danny, you're out here looking for this magical person, and he's right under your nose, you idiot. I knew that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. That was the audience response. It ended in a blow up and a parting of the ways. And while, it is, the press release notes that Jordan Bell does appear in the second season, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's with Danny.
The third season, you mean? Yes.
Third season, yes, sorry.
We already know he was in season 2.
Right. He's in season 3. He's back, but who knows in what capacity?
Okay. I think, as long as he's in front of the camera, I think that's what people are hoping for. Okay. So now because this Danny Will Die Alone started as a podcast, like, you have been with Danny for a long time. So emotionally,
about that.
how is it putting Danny behind you after all this time?
I was literally just thinking about this yesterday, about how this started as a podcast during lockdown and quarantine, and then has led to this. And it's something I could never have predicted. I had no idea when I sat down with my co-host of the podcast at the time and started that podcast that this is where the end of that road would be. So it's a little bittersweet. It hasn't really hit me yet because, I'm still doing press. It's still going to air. It'll get picked up on other streaming services later on in the years to come. So, it's not fully over. I mean, I'm still getting new fans of Danny coming into my DMs today. People who are just finding it on other platforms that have been licensed to. So it's still going to be a while before it's entirely behind me. And I'll tell you, the first thing I ever did, a web series from, 8 years ago now, I still have people message me about. So That doesn't even really feel over. So, but, I would have loved to have done a 4th or 5th season. That just wasn't in the cards. But I think it ends in a way that I'm happy with. I hope the audience is happy with it as well. And I am always moving on to the next thing. So I'm literally, before we got on the phone, I'm typing out the crowdfund project for the next thing. So,
and what is the next thing? Can I ask?
Absolutely. I'm so excited about it. So it's called The Naughty List, and I think it will end up being a queer Christmas classic. It is Elf meets the Santa Claus meets the humor of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is very similar to the humor of Danny. It is vulgar. It is disgusting. It stars legendary drag icon Sherry Vine.
Love it.
We're talking to a few other notable queer actors who would like to be a part of it. So I hope to have some more announcements soon. But I think it's the best thing I've ever written. And I think it could be an annual Christmas tradition to watch this film. So starting the
like that.
Right, I'm very confident. And we're going to start the crowdfund right when Danny season 3 premieres on February 12th. So you can go to my Instagram, Jack Tracy official, TRACY, no E, and hook up with me there. You could also go to Instagram at The Naughty List Movie. And we're going to get started on this right away. I'm excited.
I want you to know. So I have been watching a lot of holiday movies because I've been staying with someone who lives for the Hallmark Channel. And I am constantly disappointed by how few gay holiday movies there are. So the idea of a new gay holiday movie, A, is exciting. B, the fact that it could actually be a really good comedy, double exciting. Sherry Vine is awesome, so I'm on board just for that alone.
Yeah. I love Sherry. We met at I met Keith the alter ego of Sherry Vine in a boxing class several years ago. We were partnered together, and I learned through like talking that Keith was Sherry Vine. And then we worked together on a music video of mine a couple years ago. And we've always been wanting to do something scripted together. And Sherry Vine will, if all things line up, she's committed, but things can, schedules and all that stuff have to work out. But she will be our Mrs. Claus. The movie is not your standard romantic Hallmark movie. That is not what this is. This is whimsical. We've got elves and toy soldiers, but we also have leather daddies and reindeer with breast augmentations.
Oh.
And Harriet Tubman makes an appearance. It is wild. It is a wild, wild movie that it will, at the very least, it will be unique.
All right, I'm in.
As we always say, it isn't Christmas without Harriet Tubman.
I mean, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Now, since you mentioned your music, this is another passion of yours. And so with season 3 of Danny Will Die Alone, will there be more of your original music in the show?
So I always put my music in the credits. I like to do the RuPaul method of forcing my music onto people while they watch something they actually care about. So that's what I'm doing. And so you'll get all 6 episodes have a new track, will premiere in the credits, and the album that they come from, the 21-track sex album Glorify, comes out March 20th. The pre-sale will begin on the day Danny premieres on the 12th, and you'll get with that, if you pre-save it or you pre-order it, you will get the first single right now at time of purchase.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Right. And so will you, obviously it's quite an undertaking to put an album together and put it out. But are you also, continuing to work on new music on the other side of this?
Yeah, I mean, I did so much music during lockdown. That's mostly what I did. So I've got probably 2 more albums worth of material just sitting on a hard drive.
Oh, wow.
So this will come out in March. I'm going to push that, for the next year or so. And then the next project, I already know what it is. And I'll start working on that in 27.
Well, and Christmas is all about music. So are we also expecting with the naughty list that there will be some holiday songs?
I'm thinking about it. So I've done my research because, again, tiny little production company, so we got to be conscious of money. So I have already done my research as to what Christmas songs are in the public domain.
Right.
So that list is available. And so I think that what we'll do is we'll hire sort of either a pianist or a quartet and record the score that way. Maybe I can get particularly an LGBTQ music ensemble to do that. I think that's the plan for that one. But yeah, we could put out an album maybe if I work out the rights and all of that.
That would be fun.
Like an original Christmas song.
An original Christmas song.
A Jack Tracy original. Yes.
Oh, what would I? Well, I don't. Maybe. I mean, I feel like unless you're the 3 Christmas besides. I guess there are 4 Christmas songs that I feel like that beyond your standard Christmas songs,
right,
like modern songs that that pretty much for me are the only ones worth listening to, and everything else is just kind of noise, which is, of course, All I Want for Christmas Is You, Mariah Carey. Anybody who hates that song because it's so popular and been around so long, fuck you. It is a great fucking song. All I Want for Christmas Is You. That Kelly Clarkson one, Santa Can You Hear Me? Or I don't know what it is. It's really good. There's the Ariana Grande one, something about because I can't give it all away if you won't be here next year, whatever that one is.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Santa Babe, Santa Tell Me, something. And then, of course, Last Christmas. And I listen, I'm a competent singer-songwriter, but I feel like unless you're hitting that, don't bother.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you never know. There's probably something here in the being naughty for the holidays.
Yeah, maybe you need to write one about the benefits of being on the naughty list.
Yeah, is that a lump of coal, or you're just happy to see me? Kind of.
Yeah, all I want for Christmas is a butt plug. Great. Put that on a Christmas Eve at Mom's house.
You never know what people are going to be into. The people are a lot more open to things than they used to be. It might be time for a filthy Christmas song.
Well, you know what I should do now that we're brainstorming? What I should do is who is the queen of parody but Sherry Vine?
Right.
She needs to be doing a song for this, and she needs to be doing All I Want for Christmas is Cock. That's gold.
Yes. That would be awesome.
All right. You get credit. You'll get credit in the liner notes.
All right. Well, that's very sweet. But it has been wonderful catching up with you, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk about the new season of Danny Will Die Alone, and we look forward to seeing you on the naughty list real soon as well.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Anytime.
Absolutely. Our thanks. Our thanks to Jack Tracy for being with us. He has to rush off now and write an absolutely filthy Christmas song for Sherry Vine. But you can follow his various antics on Instagram. He is Jack Tracy Official on Instagram, and that's TRACY, no E there. And the third and final season of Danny Will Die Alone, all 3 seasons, for those of you who haven't watched it yet, you can get caught up, are on Deku.com. That is DEKKOO.com. And they also have a premium channel on YouTube and an app for Apple and Android to make it easy to enjoy the show and all of their programming there. You're listening to Derek and Romaine. Well, there you have it. The end of another perfect episode of Derek and Romaine. And if you want more great fun, go to dnrstudios.com and subscribe to get our show every day. And don't forget, for DNR Plus subscribers, you can use the DNR Cast app for iPhone, available now in the App Store.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.